Imagine being held captive, forced to move out of your home into a place surrounded by people and enclosed by a metal cage or dirty window. This situation is the reality for so many animals around the world in both zoos and aquariums. This leads to the question, are aquariums and zoos unethical? We know they are. During the 18th century and at the beginning of the Age of Enlightenment, public zoos began to gain popularity. At this time in history, animal captivity was common in order for scientists to research animal behavior, physiology, and anatomy. By 1793, the first modern zoo, or zoological park, was introduced to the public in Paris, France. By the 19th century, the prevalence of zoos led to the emergence of aquariums. Initially, these aquatic chambers were used to grow and study aquatic plants. By 1853, the first aquarium was introduced to the public at Regent's Park in London, containing both aquatic plants and animals. In the world today, zoos and aquariums are still being implemented into society.
One reason that we believe zoos are unethical is because they negatively impact an animal's physical and psychological health. Zoochosis is when animals begin to develop abnormal behaviors that they normally wouldn't exhibit if in the wild. Zoochosis develops from a lack of stimulation, a lack of space, little social action, and human presence. Gus the polar bear in Central Park Zoo in the mid-1900s had to have $25,000 worth of behavioral therapy after he exhibited strange behavior, like swimming in figure eights for 12 hours and giving children predatory stares. Common symptoms for zoochosis can look like circling and pacing in their enclosure, twisting their neck, more common in primates, giraffes, llamas, and bears, swaying their heads and shoulders or their whole bodies, and over-grooming and self-mutilation.
Tragedy at SeaWorld. It happened without warning. A killer whale grabbed a trainer who'd always dreamed of working with orcas and pulled her underwater. CBS News correspondent Kelly Kobiella is in Orlando this morning with the latest. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Maggie. This is the third time this killer whale has been involved in the death of a person over the past 20 years. In this case, it was a seasoned trainer who had worked at this park for 16 years and knew the animal well. 40-year-old Dawn Brancho was one of SeaWorld's most experienced trainers, one of only a dozen allowed to work with the park's largest whale, Tilikum. Brancho was at the edge of the pool, rubbing the giant orca's head when it grabbed her with its mouth and pulled her in. It happened at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, in full view of horrified parents and children.
And then Tilikum just shot off like a rocket. And then he came back up, bobbed up, and then he had somebody in his mouth.
Tourists at an earlier show say the 12,000-pound orca wasn't obeying commands and seemed agitated.
So they said they're going to watch the behavior and just let it do its own thing.
Trainers at SeaWorld knew Tilikum could be dangerous. No one swam with him because of his size, strength, and his past. In 1991, the male orca, along with 2 females, dragged a trainer underwater in front of an audience at a Canadian aquarium, killing her. In 1999, at SeaWorld in Orlando, a man was found dead in Tilikum's tank, lying on the whale's back. He died of hypothermia, but had bite marks and scrapes on his body. The staff here at SeaWorld Orlando points out that Tilikum had hundreds of thousands of interactions with people safely in the years since. Now, as for what happens to him now, that's unclear. SeaWorld is open today. However, locations here in San Diego and San Antonio have all suspended their killer whale shows while they review their safety procedures. Maggie?
Kelly Kobiella in Orlando this morning. Thank you, Kelly.
Another reason why aquariums and zoos are unethical is because animals are being forced into entertainment. SeaWorld has been a famous form of sea life entertainment since they opened their doors in 1973. They have been widely known for their shows featuring orca whales and their employees performing tricks. Multiple whales from SeaWorlds all over the globe have been labeled too dangerous to work with. SeaWorld also participates in forced breeding with their animals. This includes both their orca whales and bottlenose dolphins. Dawn Brancho worked as an orca whale trainer for SeaWorld right up until her death. According to SeaWorld, she pet Tilikum, a dangerous male orca, on the nose right before he pulled her under by her hair while performing in a show. Due to his tantrum, when Tilikum was cornered, Brancho was already dead and completely dismembered by the whale. John Hargrove was also a trainer for SeaWorld. He had worked at multiple locations, France, San Diego, and San Antonio. While in France, he had a near-death occurrence where he was almost a whale snack. The whale he was working with was refusing to follow the behaviors he was asking of her. The whale, while refusing, positioned its mouth directly under Hargrove, slowly opening its mouth. Hargrove eventually left the corporation in 2012, shortly following the death of Brancho and the exploitation of SeaWorld. This can also be seen at the Ringling Bros Circus, who began their shows in 1882. The company eventually shut down in May of 2017 due to costly legal battles with animal rights groups. The biggest problem people found with this corporation was the elephant performing acts. After a multi-million-dollar court battle, the Ringling Bros Circus eventually announced the end of their elephant acts and stated that they would be placing them in an elephant conservation in Florida. It has been studied that these circus animals get so stressed out that they will either not perform or not perform up to standards. The conditions of these spaces the animals are kept in are not the best. They are dark, dirty, and very small. To top it all off, the cages house multiple animals. The living conditions are already small as it is, and with the multiple animals in those conditions, it can be stressful and traumatizing.
The final reason zoos are unethical is because humans invade an animal's habitat, take them from their home, and place them in an artificial environment. People who support the development of zoos believe that these institutions provide an unparalleled educational experience. However, there are many other ways that the public can be educated. National Geographic contains several documentaries where wildlife experts go out into the wild and film the animals in their natural habitats. Not only are these videos freely accessible by the public and minimally disrupts the animal's habitat, these videos have proven to be more educational as it allows viewers to see animals' natural instincts and movements as they roam their familiar environment instead of a fake terrain display that is promoted by zoos, aquariums, and other places.
According to a published paper by the Conservation of Biology, out of 2,800 children surveyed at the London Zoo, only 38% of the children were able to demonstrate some type of positive learning outcome from their time at the zoo. Others showed little or worse, no knowledge at all. However, these results aren't surprising at all. How could children learn about animals when these animals held in captivity are unfamiliar in their new home? People are able to learn more about animals when they are living in the wild. In the wild, they aren't bred for specific entertainment. People are able to learn more about different animals by viewing them through animal documentaries, watching live feeds of animals in their habitat, and other non-invasive modes of learning.
So we'll ask again, are zoos, aquariums, and other form of animal captivity ethical? We know now that they aren't as family-friendly and educational as they may seem. We believe these animal-based institutions are unethical because of not only their questionable housing methods and forced entertainment, but because zoos have shown not to benefit children's education, and animals kept in facilities, with good intentions or not, have detrimental effects to their mental and physical well-being.